Hey guys, what's going on? Angel Vivaldi here, and you're geeking out to Gear Gods.
What's up, Gear Mortals? Trey Xavier here, and we are with Angel Vivaldi on the Touring You Apart Tour 2015. So, Angel, tell us a little bit about the tour and, where you're going next and all that.
Well, we started on the East Coast, and right now we're in Los Angeles, California, at the wonderful Mystery Box venue, which is gorgeous. If you haven't been here, come here. It's wonderful. We're doing last West Coast date. I think we're going up to Seattle, and then we're slowly making our way back home to the East Coast. We have an extra week of touring. It's about like 5 weeks. Very long.
That's quite a long tour. What's next for Angel Vivaldi after the tour is over?
Sleep and organic food.
Mm-hmm.
And baths every night.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm actually working on a tremendous amount of material. 2016, right now I'm working on 4 different records. I'll let you in on a little secret. So,
Damn.
So a lot of people are asking, Way with Words Part 2, which as you guys know is mostly acoustic. But at this point in my career, I kind of decided to sort of put it on hold and work on another traditional Angel Vivaldi record. Which is going to be called Synapse, most likely going to be out in 2016. Another concept record, can't say much more than that, but it's really cool. I'm really super proud of the material. And then Away with Words Part 2 is obviously still being worked on. I have too much material, got to trim the fat a little bit off of that. I have about 10 songs I have to condense down to 5, so it's going to hurt a little bit. But aside from that, I'm actually doing this top secret supergroup that's releasing an EP sometime 2016. Yeah, that's pretty intense because like the drummer in particular, such a huge influence on me, like growing up, beginning of high school. So this band's been around for a minute. They're super and they're killing it right now. So when he approached me, I'm like, yes, absolutely, So we've been working on some stuff, and I'm also working on this other thing with this gorgeous classical pianist. So it's all just guitar and classical piano. She's amazing. I mean, she's really pushing my tapping abilities to the breaking point, and it's very classical based, sort of jazzy, sort of poppy, it's kind of all over the place, but it's all instrumental. So yeah, a lot of stuff in the works.
That's great. Well, what I read was that you essentially have quit your day job to be doing music full time.
Yeah.
And I mean that's a huge step. I know. I mean it's a tough climate to be doing that in, but I think it's the thing to do. I mean, it sounds like you've got a lot of stuff in the works. So how did how did you come to that decision?
Well, not to take the mood, suck it completely out. But unfortunately, my friend Rich he was diagnosed with ALS back in May of last year. And he was 35 and he was super young, and it took him within a year. So, I never lost anyone close to me in my entire life in 30 years of living. Very grateful for that. But losing him was like a huge eye-opener, It was like, the closest I've ever been to losing someone close to me was like a movie or a story. It doesn't become a story anymore. It's reality, And I think that over the years, I've had so many opportunities to tour, sign to this label, sign to that label, and I keep saying no because, I was making great money doing music, and I was making great money at a day job. I was close enough to the fire to get warm, but not to get burned, and there was a certain security that I liked, because I could still move people with my music, but do it in a more safer, place in my life. But once he went, man, it kind of opened me up, because it was like, to talk to someone that has the regrets of a dying man, a very young man, it was like, what? The worst thing, the only thing worse than living with regret is dying with regret. And I never want to say, I should have tried this, I should have tried that. So I, put my notice in, and I just started working on music, started planning the tour, teaching a lot more, because I enjoy it. And here we are, in LA, playing shows, and the tour's been incredible, like packing houses left and right. Unfortunately the algorithm with the visas, they couldn't make it out. So, like these are all people who've been waiting for me to do this for many years. So it's an immense privilege, dude. I don't take any date for granted at all.
Awesome. it seems to me that recently there's been a surge in the popularity of instrumental music, and specifically instrumental guitar music.
Yeah.
So what do you think about the state of instrumental guitar music today?
I think it's wonderful. You know, as you know, I'm more old school. I'm 30, you know, so not that that's old by any stretch of the imagination. I know like people who are
Thank you for
older.
saying that. I
Yes,
appreciate
yes,
that.
of course. But you know, I grew up on Malmsteen. You know, Malmsteen was my guy, and you know, I like Vian, you know, Satriani and stuff, but Malmsteen. To this day, I'm very religious about two things: science and Malmsteen. That's pretty much it. So having that mindset, it's really cool to see people picking up the guitar and challenging what's been done before. You know. And it's like a really big cycle of, you know, with any genre in particular, where one band does it well and then another band does it a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, and it's interesting to see where it's going to go. But then at the same time, there's a lot of, you know, a lot of hate with it, you know, a lot of just like, and I talked about this in a video recently, but it's honestly, it's a language. Music's a language, so if you're not tuned to the frequency of the guitar and what it can say, you're not going to get it. So if I went up to you and I was like, hey, kimochi wa sutawaru, you wouldn't know what in God, but it doesn't mean I'm not saying anything.
Right.
You know, just it means that you don't understand it.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is honestly just a completely different vocabulary that I think more people are tuning into, or at least opening up their dial a little bit more to be like, this is really cool, you know? And there's so many different types of instrumental stuff. You have super complex stuff like Animals as Leaders that's just like, you know, out of control, you know? And then you have stuff that's like Satriani that's very soft and pillowy and nice and easy to digest. Then you have stuff that's in between, maybe like me, I don't know, you know? So when you have all these different colors of the same frequency, it's more accessible to more people, you know? So I think it's in a fantastic place. I think if bands planned, you know, I guess had a trajectory on what they wanted to say and really focused on that craft, they can do the same thing to, you know, the different levels that other successful instrumental bands are too, you know?
Yeah. Do you have any current favorites?
Instrumental stuff, man. I do not listen to a lot of metal at all, and I'm sure you get that often, man. I listen to like a lot of Brazilian jazz, samba, bossa nova, like, you know, Carmen Miranda, the woman in the fruit hat from like 20s. I think she was fantastic. There's such an integrity and an honesty with stuff from like that era, you know, because it's people in a room with one mic, one take. Those musicians, you do not fuck with those guys, man. They were on. There are no musicians like that I've met.
Yeah.
Recently, not like that, man. So and it's just one take, and it's so authentic and genuine, and a lot of bossa nova, Ellie Regina. But man, I mean, then you got like Tristeza and, you know, Mogwai and Sigur Rós and but lately we've been really jamming a Symphony X in the van because I can't put my guys to sleep in the van with all the fucked up shit that I listen to. So new Symphony X is just, they never disappoint, dude. Ever. So check it out, man. It's amazing.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. So in that same vein, I've been interested to start asking people, what is it that you think people really like about either fast, technical, or intricate music, you know, where the vast majority of popular music is the opposite of that. They're going for, you know, the lowest common denominator, which I don't think is bad at all. I love pop music, but you know, like why do I like the Dillinger Escape Plan or like crazy technical music that most people just hear as noise,
right?
You know, like a lot of people would listen to Yngwie and go like, "No, this is noise." You know,
no,
I don't, but you know, I show it to some of my friends and they're like, "What is this?"
Here's the thing, man. It sort of ties into what I was saying before with understanding the language, but I think that when it is a language. So with that type of music, you're saying a lot. You know, it's a matter of how you're crafting your sentences and how you're crafting your emotions and the dynamic of what you're playing. That's why I listen to very dynamic music like that. But, you know, on the flip side, I listen to a tremendous, like Rihanna. That's my girl. I love Rihanna. You know, I love a lot of that music. And so I think the important thing to understand is, like, you even think about how a lot of the pop music is made. It's digital. It's kind of fake. But it serves a purpose. It's a superficial good time. Will you go to a club dancing to Periphery? No. I want to dance to Madonna. I want to dance to fucking just the ratchet, like, I want to do some terrible things to that dance floor. I can't do that. I mean, if I did that, I would probably look like I'm having a seizure, and that's not a cute look. But
you can't really dance in weird time signatures.
I mean, you can.
No, you can, but it's
not cute.
Yeah. It's like Steve Vai likes that like Hungarian wedding music that's like
Igor Papazov. Oh, we were jamming out to that shit in the van. Like my merch person had like a stroke. She was like, I can't. Short circuiting. It was bad.
Yeah, it's like crazier than Dream Theater, but like.
Yeah, it's not. And if you ever look at Igor Papazov or whatever those guys are, like, it's a Bulgarian wedding band that's completely there at home in the most fucked up time signatures. But even that, it's a language, and even if you can't just relate to it, you have to appreciate the musicianship, you know? And even like, let's take it back to like even bands like Nickelback and stuff like that, because, you know, it may be simple, but it relates to a lot of people, because, you know, people with music, maybe they don't have the capacity to really sit down and appreciate something, or to really learn to like something, because some albums grow on you, you know? James Labrie, his voice had to grow on me. Now I love him, you know? But it's a matter about that open-mindedness and just finding a soundtrack that kind of reflects your own place in life and how you see it, you know? And that's why, like, a lot of progressive artists, like even a lot of my friends in the industry, like a lot of them don't listen to metal. They listen to stuff I listen to, you know? So we can jam out. It's like, oh, you listen to, you know, whatever. And it's because even those blueprints of the type of music, it kind of bleeds into what we do. So we're always borrowing a little bit. So we're mixing languages to create something else. You know, but I think honestly, you know, every type of music serves its purpose. Even if it's digital, auto-tune crap, it serves a purpose. Even if it's crazy, like throwing darts at a number, all right, this is going to be an 11/16. It doesn't matter. It serves a purpose, you know.
What's something that you brought on tour with you that you can't live without?
So, no. One thing I brought on tour with me that I cannot live without. My 5D, my Canon 5D, and not for bougie materialistic reasons, but going back to Rich, like that was one of the things he left me when he passed. So like that was his prized possession. So
now you're making me nervous because it's sitting on my shitty tripod.
Right, no, man, that's the
$30 tripod from Target is holding it up right now, holding up your memories.
Just my memories, man. But no, that's the one thing. That and this watch, which he also gave me. I didn't mean to bring this watch on tour with me, but it just so happened to be on my wrist when I was packing up the van. I brought, and I was like in Brooklyn on my way to like Canada, and I was like, oh my God, this is terrible, you know? And it's funny because the first night we parked in this parking lot on our way to Canada before we went into the border, and you know, because I'm very alert because I'm tour managing this tour too. So like my merch girl, she goes, Andrew, you gotta wake up. There's a red van circling. I woke up. I just broke a sweat. I'm like, guys, we gotta go. Just because of, you know, these things, and I want to make sure my band's safe or whatever. But yeah, definitely the camera.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. Fuck the guitars. I don't give a shit. Whatever. It's a piece of wood and metal, whatever. That camera I can't replace, you know.
Yeah. Great.
And I can't live without.
I won't tell Ibanez you said fuck the guitars.
Minor detail.
No, they're you know. Tell us a bit about your very first instrument.
Oh, my very first instrument. Oh my God. So it was very poor, and with like that much support from my family about wanting me to play guitar. So this friend of mine had this really just unnecessarily fucked up acoustic guitar in his basement that his grandfather gave to him when he was 6, and mind you, he was like 17 at the time when he gave it to me. So
probably hadn't had the strings changed since then.
There were strings of tar. It was pretty terrible, and the neck was cracked, so it never held a tuning, and it was nylon string, and the action was like over here, and the fretboard was over here. It wasn't cute, but that's what I had at first, and I learned to play all my, you know, Nirvana songs, which made me pick up the guitar to begin with. And then my first real electric guitar, I saved up money for like a year and a half, literally. Like all my lunch money, I would starve at school and not have lunch. Like whatever crumbs were left, I would eat them. It's like to save for this shitty Silvertone red guitar. And that was my baby, man. That's what I really learned, you know, how to fucking sort of play a little bit more depthly. And But yeah, it's weird. Do you ever have it like where you just lose guitars in your life? Think about all the guitars you've had. You just don't. Where are they?
Yeah.
It's like socks. When you put them in the dryer, where do they go?
Yeah, there's like little sock gremlins who steal them, and there's a slightly more twisted version of guitar gremlins.
Yeah, I think it's
you move a couple times, and then you're like.
Yeah, I don't know what it is like. It's literally like a guitarnia. It's a whole other world of lost guitars where all the squires go to. It's like, where did all my guitars go?
Yeah,
like,
you move into a place with like a mysterious wardrobe, and you're like, oh, this would be a great place for all my guitars.
Yep.
And then there's a little like comes in from the back. You didn't think that the back just kept going. Comes in through the coats and like takes your beautiful guitars and
all you hear is.
Yeah.
A little ringing of the last ringing of your guitar as he takes it into this hellhole.
It's gone forever.
Of dead, shitty entry-level guitars.
Some bullshit.
It is really some bullshit.
It's Mr. Tumnus.
I think you should write a strongly worded letter to their people because
of Narnia,
I want it back just because. Why not?
Yeah. I actually my first guitar, which my mom gave me, which was a sweet gift. She also took away by accident. I left it on the floor, and in the dark, she stepped through it. It was a nylon string acoustic, and I still have it, but there's no face on. It's basically a planter.
I have the same thing. I have a little shard of my first acoustic guitar, and it was so funny because what happened was when I got the Silvertone, because I was a very rebellious little teenager. When I got it, I smashed it because I thought it was so badass at a talent show, and I still have the front, like it's like the little hole in the piece right here, and I have it. And I also have the neck to the first guitar. I don't know where the rest. I don't even know why I took the neck off, but I did. It was funny, but like the first legit guitar I had, like the sound maker is just, ouch, was an RG 250DX, and it was amazing because it looked like the Vi model, right? But it was not the best.
Yeah.
But it was really sentimental to me because like there was a little time where I was homeless, like doing my first record. And I was a big skater back in the day, man. All about the fucking BMX shit. So I used to have my skateboard, and I had my crappy Marshall combo amp. You stuff my clothes inside the back of it, and I used to like walk around, like house to house to house with my RG, and it was important to me because it's like, I felt like because I had that guitar, like I can be that, Well, at least be close to it, or delusional, be close to it at some point, And it's like, that's why it's such a privilege to me to like actually work with Ibanez now. Like the past like 5 or 6 years, it's just like, what? Who the fuck am I? But I don't take that for granted either. It's pretty awesome, But yeah, that's pretty much my entry-level fleet of crappy guitars. Long answer to a very short question.
Well, that's what that just illustrates how important those kinds of instruments are. Like a lot of people take a look at those things and like, oh, what do I need this piece of shit for? But like, I started with one of those pieces of shit. Like you started with one. Like I was talking to Misha Mansour. He had his first guitar was one of those $99 BC Rich Warlocks.
Ooh,
you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like from Guitar Center. Like doesn't matter. Like you start with something. And, at the time, you're like, this is great.
Oh, my God.
I wanted one of those so bad.
It's life-changing, man. It's life-changing. Then you baby it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, every time I broke a string on the Silvertone, I took it back to the guitar shop.
You're like, do I have to buy a new one?
I kid you not. The first time I broke a string was my first high E string. While I was playing one, or trying to learn how to play one from Metallica, I about had a fucking titty attack. I'm like, what did I do? I was like, am I playing that bad that the guitar was like, I
didn't even know my own strength.
It was bad. It was bad. But like literally for the first 6 months, I always took it back to the guitar shop. And every time he saw me walk in, he's just like, oh, this fucking kid, man. Jesus Christ.
But if he could see you now.
Oh, just the hair. Just the hair. I had really bad hair back in the day. It was like, never mind. It was just bad. It was bad.
All right. Well, that's beautiful. I think that about wraps up our questions. So be sure to check out Angel in a city near you on the Touring You Apart tour. And thanks so much for coming out.
Pleasure's all mine.
For coming out to the show that you're playing. Whatever I meant to say, I don't know. Who cares?
I'm running on fumes too. Like my blood hurts on this tour, so it's completely fine.
Cool. And and check out Away with Words Part 1.
Peace.